All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something I think we can all relate to, and that's headaches.
Yeah.
But we're going a little deeper than that.
Huh?
We're going to look at the differences between regular headaches and migraines.
Yeah, they can be pretty different.
Yeah, I was going through some sources that we've got here, and I'm realizing that I've always kind of just lumped them all together,
Right.
Like a headache's a headache.
Sure.
But migraines, they're like a whole other beast.
Definitely.
And, for this deep dive, I really want to make sure that we all come away being able to tell the difference
Absolutely.
between the two and really understanding what's going on
Yeah, that's important.
when we get a headache.
For sure.
So to help us out with this, we've got an expert here.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm an expert,
Oh, come on.
but I've definitely spent some time studying neurology and pain management, so I can definitely share what I know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
One of the first things that really jumped out at me from the sources was the sheer difference in the level of pain.
Oh, yeah, no question.
Okay, we've all had headaches that make us want to, just grab some painkillers.
Yeah, hide in a dark room.
And lay down.
Exactly.
But the sources, they describe migraine pain as debilitating.
It's a whole other level.
It's not a word that you typically hear.
No, you don't.
Thrown around with a regular headache, right?
Right.
So can you kind of break down the actual pain itself?
Yeah, so with a tension headache, it's often described as a tight band or pressure around your head.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of dull, achy feeling.
Yeah.
But with a migraine, it's often a much more intense throbbing or pulsing pain,
Wow.
usually on one side of the head.
See, I always thought migraines were both sides of the head.
Nope.
That's so interesting
It's usually one-sided.
that it's just one side.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that they talked about pain beyond
Absolutely.
just the head.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for migraines to cause pain in other areas, like your eyes, your temples,
Really?
even your face, jaw, and neck.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one way to really tell if you're dealing with a migraine or just a regular tension headache.
So basically, if it's spreading,
Yeah, if it's spreading out,
that's a pretty good indicator.
that's a pretty good sign.
Okay, so we talked about the pain,
Uh-huh.
the intensity.
Yep.
But what about how long these things last?
Oh, yeah, that's another big difference.
Okay, so I've had, tension headaches where it's I step away from the computer.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Oof.
Yeah. But the sources mention that migraines can last for hours,
Oh, yeah, easily.
even days.
Sometimes even days, yeah.
That sounds terrible.
It can be really rough.
So it's not just the pain itself,
Right.
but it's how long
Exactly.
it lingers.
Yeah, it can really impact your daily
And
life.
just stop you from
Like,
being able to
exactly.
function.
You can't focus on work. You can't enjoy your hobbies. It's just, yeah, it's rough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about the pain. We talked about how long it lasts. But what about the things that actually set off a migraine?
Ah, yes, the triggers.
Yeah, the sources mention things like movement, lights, sounds.
Yeah, it's a wide range of things.
I was really surprised by that.
What surprised you?
Movement. Even moving around can trigger a migraine.
Yeah, it sounds odd, but for people who are susceptible to migraines, even simple movements can set them off.
Wow. So what's going on there? What's the science behind that?
Well, it's a bit complicated.
Okay.
But basically, certain stimuli can trigger a complex chain reaction in the brain.
Right.
And one of the key mechanisms involved is something called cortical spreading depression.
Okay, hold on. Cortical spreading depression.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
That sounds intense.
It is. It's basically a wave of electrical activity that spreads across the brain.
Whoa.
And that causes changes in blood flow, which ultimately triggers that intense migraine pain.
So it's not just you're sensitive to light or sensitive to sound.
Right.
It's a whole neurological
It's a whole neurological event.
thing happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, so identifying your triggers is crucial, right?
Absolutely. If you can figure out what consistently sets off your migraines, you can start to avoid those things.
Okay, so it's like being preemptive
Exactly.
and taking cover before the storm hits.
Exactly. You're managing your environment and your lifestyle to minimize the risk of a migraine.
Okay, that makes sense.
Good.
And what about sleep?
Oh, slowly.
The sources mention that migraines can start during sleep.
Yeah, that's another one that throws people off.
Yeah, because I always thought sleep was supposed to be the time when your body's resting and restoring itself.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
And tension headaches, they rarely happen during sleep.
Okay.
But with migraines, it's not unusual at all.
Huh.
Researchers think that changes in sleep patterns and hormone fluctuations during sleep can be triggers for some people.
So it's Even when you're trying to rest,
Yeah, your brain's still working.
your brain can be like
And sometimes that work can trigger a migraine.
working against you.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, this is all so fascinating.
It is, isn't it?
There's so much more going on behind the scenes than I ever realized.
It's a complex condition.
Okay, there's one last term that I have to ask you about.
Okay, shoot.
Aura.
Ah, yes.
It sounds kind of mysterious.
It does, a little bit.
What does it actually mean when we're talking about migraines?
So an aura is basically a warning sign
Okay.
that some people experience before a migraine hits.
Oh, interesting.
And it can involve various sensory disturbances, like visual hallucinations.
What?
Yeah, things like seeing flashing lights or zigzag patterns or even experiencing temporary blind spots.
Oh, wow.
Some people feel tingling sensations in their limbs or face.
Really?
Yeah, or even have difficulty speaking.
That's like your body's trying to give you a heads up.
Exactly. It's like a little alarm bell going off.
Yeah. That something's about to happen.
Yep, not everyone gets auras, but for those who do, recognizing them can be really helpful.
Right.
You can prepare for the migraine and maybe take medication early on to try and lessen the severity.
That's so interesting.
It is. The brain is a fascinating and complex organ.
It really is. Okay, this has been so eye-opening. I feel like I've learned so much.
My parrot.
And it's clear that migraines are so much more than just a bad headache.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
like a whole neurological
It is.
event going on.
Exactly, and they can really impact someone's life.
Absolutely.
So the more we all understand the differences between headaches and migraines, the better we can manage them.
That's a good point. And, we've covered a lot of information,
We have.
but it's important to remember that everyone is different,
Absolutely.
and it's always best to talk to a healthcare professional
Yes, always.
for a proper diagnosis and treatment.
They can help you figure out what's going on and create a personalized treatment plan.
Yeah, okay. So before we wrap up, I have one final thought I want to leave everyone with.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We talked a lot about triggers
Right.
and how identifying them can be really helpful in managing migraines.
Uh-huh.
So could we take that a step further
How so?
and use that knowledge to actually prevent them?
That's an interesting question.
It is, isn't it?
It is. There's definitely a lot of research being done on migraine prevention.
Right.
And lifestyle changes, stress management, all those things can play a big role.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
That's what I want everyone to do, to think about.
Go out there and do some research.
Exactly. Until next time,
See you then.
keep diving deep.
Always be learning. Bye.